One. Everybody, what's up? Welcome to another episode of ArmTalk. I'm your host, Jody Williams, also known as Chocolate Thunder, and my guest today, welcome Wayne Withers back to my show. Only this time, you look a little bit heavier. You got something on your shoulder. What exactly you got on your shoulder right there, buddy?
And that's it. Max Super Heavyweight Championship belt.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. Now, before we get into meat and potatoes of this show, tell everybody, what were your thoughts? Because I think you got to pull Rick Heidelberg to win that belt, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so tell me what was going on. I mean, I saw the match. There was one round where Rick kind of came back, got the crowd, going, but you said, you know what? Let me go ahead and put an end to this now so I can get that belt and be done before, I get myself in trouble. So take us back to that moment, when you pulled Rick for the belt.
I had probably got a little too comfortable. I had 3 wins up on Rick. And the round 4, you can't see it from the angle that it was shown on the pay-per-view, but I lost my grip on my foot. My right foot went out from under me. And if you can see it from my angle, because I have a video from my angle, you can see where about 3 or 4 different times I'm trying to re-catch my balance with my foot.
Right.
So that contributed a lot to me not taking him down that round, I believe now. But yeah, you lose your balance in an arm wrestling match just like a fight. It's not good.
Right. Well, you were able to come back and win the belt. And the cool thing about that, I know you're back home in Mississippi, you're walking around with the belt and taking pictures, doing interviews. I think you're on the news too, or at one point. Didn't you have a segment on the news?
I did. I had a segment.
Yeah. So I'm glad you're having fun with this whole thing, because right now you are currently representing the super heavies of the MAC championship. So at some point you have to realize that, okay, I got the belt in my possession, but I got guys gunning for me. So you're at a point now where you got to take on all comers. Are you ready for it?
Oh, I'm ready. Like I say, I just need to know where they're good at, where their strengths are. And like I say, to me, the guy that I'm arm wrestling in a couple of weeks is all hand and wrist. So that's taking me back to the older days of my training from back around 2019, where I was really, really focusing on that when I pulled the guy that he's about to pull in a couple of weeks. So I was really, really focusing on my hand and wrist at that particular match as well. So kind of gotten away from that a little bit and just been on heavy back pressure and stuff like that and side pressure the last couple of years, but just seeing how strong this guy's hand looks in all of his matches, I've really turned back the time to 4 or 5 years ago the way I used to train. So we'll see if it pays off.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Philip Larson is your opponent, August 30th in Ottawa. But what makes this match interesting, because you never want to look ahead of your opponent. But I have to say, my man has a major match coming up against Matt Mass at the Shaw Classic. And so I know for a fact you have some serious interest in that match. And tell us, are you gonna watch the event or what?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna see what's going on. And but I started to fly out there. I started to go out there and watch it just to see what I was up against. But I don't know, man. Times are a little tight down here in Mississippi right now, so I'll probably just watch it from the TV, But he's taking a risk, because you never know in an intense match like that, he could get injured. You just never know what's going to happen. And then what will we do about the MAC then? So I would be scared to take a match that high volume right before the match, at MAC in Canada. So.
Right. Especially, when it's this kind of caliber, like, hey, you could be, the future champ, but, if Matt Mass puts you on the ground, then you got to go, okay, am I going to have enough energy, power, strength to compete against a fresh Wayne Withers who's watching? And can you imagine how, I don't want to use the word mindfuck right now because we're only 4.5 minutes in, but can you imagine if you were to show up in person just to sit there and watch, knowing that, hey, I'm watching you, man. I got you next week. So I'm like, hey, me and you next week, Can you imagine how much of a brain fart that would be for him?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, sure. And more than likely, if I had to just guess, I would say he's probably underestimating me. Uh, I don't know that because a lot of times I just underestimate myself, but it's a
Right.
possibility. Why take such a high caliber match when you got my match coming up a week or two after that? So like I say it's a possibility because, as you know, over the years, some of my wins people would question. They would say, "Well, did he really beat that real person?" So I mean, for whatever reasons, I've been underestimated several in a lot of my matches I went into.
Right. Well, what about okay? So you had that bicep injury, and some people say, Wayne's probably coming back stronger than ever from the bicep, but you also got the naysayers. Some people say, you know what, he hasn't been the same since that injury. How do you answer those kind of questions?
I say it just depends on the setup. If I'm going into a setup like the wall or like this mat, I'm more dangerous because I can access my heights. Because it's
Right.
close your thumbs, close your hands, go. When I went to Bob Brown's event in Salt Lake City, I told Bob on the phone, I'm not going to win a match. And I can't believe I won round one against Sierra Brown.
Yeah.
Because if you go back and look at that video, that referee had my hand dumped as low as it would go. And the other guy was up here like this. Now, in the Mac setup, that doesn't happen. We're both high.
Right.
And just like when I pulled Matt Mass, we were both high in the wall setup. I went right through it. If I can get my height, I'm way more dangerous than in however you want to call it, USAA grip or IFA, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But I don't really complain with the ref. I'm humble. I'm soft spoken. But the same ref, it'll take me and lower me like this. I'll let Devin Lorette get like this in that same setup. So, but
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. Like, and I have to go back and watch it, just for that when they dump your wrist like that. And I'm like going, okay, as a competitor, can't you say, hey, don't dump my wrist? If you need me to scoot back, I will scoot back because I will keep my hand here, right? And it will stay like my wrist or hand will stay like that. All I can do is back my elbow back like that. Now you can tighten the strap, but see, my hand never moved.
right. Still, you still
I'm
got
still here, but the difference is slide my elbow forward to get that height. Okay, you need to, instead of doing this, then have them just do that. Does that make sense?
well, they come at me so many different ways. Sometimes I'm bat like that, and they say, come to center. They constantly pushing me forward or lowering my hand.
Right.
It's kind of hard to explain with my hand being so huge that I think that's a lot to do with it as well. I've never really understood why nobody wants me to cover their thumb because we're not really arm wrestling with our thumbs, we're arm wrestling with our hands. So if
Right.
I'm high and you're high and we both close and we're both over each other's thumb, it really shouldn't matter. I mean, I don't really see no issues with it, but everybody over there covering my thumb and covering my thumb. Well, hell, you're covering mine. We're both knuckles up. We're both knuckles high. So let's,
Right.
you know, uh, different strokes for different folks, I guess.
Well, for me personally, depending on the situation and the puller, and you grip up and it's like, hey, get off my thumb. Where it's like, okay, you know what? He can have that. I'll just take just a lower grip, not too much, but just a lower grip and go, okay, just go ahead and call it now. Because now it's like you're gonna bury my thumb. Okay, fine. You can open your hands and you can see his webbing's like here. And it's like going, you gotta, this is where I guess you can have to argue the calls, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah,
But you
that's why
know,
watch an East versus West event. It takes hours and hours and hours, and that's what I love about the MAC. It's fast paced, and
right,
kind of reminds me of the wall. Like I say, the referee's holding it your both your hands, and he's saying, "Close your thumbs, close your hands." And when you close, you're both high as you can be. You know, so
right.
I love it. I love that style of arm wrestling, and I feel very, very comfortable there. And that's why, if I can train my wrists, I've took my vacation from work, so I got 3 weeks off. So
Oh wow.
I work a week on and a week off. I work 7 12-hour days. So being that I have a week's vacation, I'm automatically off my off week. Now
Yeah.
I'm be working, so I'm off, and then when this week's over, I'm automatically off again. So anyway, it's 3 weeks. And I will be very impressed if he can take my hand by the time our match starts, because that's all I'm working on every day in the gym is my wrist. So if he can take it, and I got some strange ways I exercise my wrist as well with the behind the
You
back
you
and
yeah,
stuff.
you and I have talked about that before. So, but here's the thing, and before we go any further, Lucky One's podcast, she's a huge fan of you. So I thought I'd throw that out there. So big shout out. So there's that. Um, some of the stuff you do training wise now, and I always tell people if I got new people, in my club and on our team and stuff, they want to know what's the best way, to train for the sport. I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, you're going to find what works for you, because what may work for me may not work for you, and what way work for you may not work for the other person. So it all depends on the person, depends on their stature. If you got a ginormous, hand, long fingers, yeah, I'm pretty sure, a hook might, a top roll might be in your store. But if you got a thick hand but stubby fingers, then I don't think you'll be top rolling a whole lot. So, I mean, it all depends on the puller. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
without giving away any secrets, how does your workouts get ready for this Mac 4 on August 30th?
My wrists are, and I'll say I've been going a little over a week now every day to the gym. I think I missed Sunday, but my hand and wrist is really in pain. Right, I just took some ibuprofen, but I'm not overdoing. I'm not hurting nothing. But the way I describe the behind the back wrist curls like I do, which I don't think anybody else does them, it's
Right.
like wrist curls with free weights, except when I'm sitting on a bench and doing a free weight wrist curl, you don't have really. I mean, you're stabilizing that dumbbell. It's kind
Right.
of in your hand. Behind your back, you're holding all that dead weight. For every time you do a wrist curl, you got all that pushing down on you. Versus, you're cheating a little bit. You're sitting down on the bench and you got your arm rested on your leg and you're doing a wrist curl. That's the
Right.
next closest thing to how I would say a free weight wrist curl. And the rest of the time you're using cable machines, which isn't as effective. But I would say all my success is right there. That's how I built my wrist to take Matt Mask, and that's how I won a lot of my matches was because of those. And like I say, I'm really focusing on those right now because watching his matches, it's like he just sits back and he takes his opponent's wrist, and then they
Right.
can do nothing from there. I want to know what's going to happen when he gets his taken from him. How's he going to react to that?
Well, I
And
tell you
I,
what.
I've got to be the man. I've got to get in the gym and make my hand and wrist to where it can take his, though, because his looks very strong. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, when you watch that coming up, and you're kind of going, all right, Matt Mass is going to come in 120%, and he's coming to attack that hand, wrist, and he's going to come with a massive hit. And can Philip absorb all that is the question. Because now you're going to take some hits, whether it be a false start, elbow foul, you're going to take some hits. So you're going to feel it in your hand and wrist. Are you
Right.
going to, not you, but is Philip going to be able to kind of say, hey, you know what? I'll be ready for next week, because you're going to be fresh as a daisy and going, hey, I know about the hand and wrist. I've been doing it my whole entire career. So
Right.
that's going to be interesting to find out how this works out.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I say, you know how a long, drawn out match is. Just sitting up with Matt at a big event like that is going to be tiring on your hand. Just the setup. Because they're going
Mm-hmm.
to be moving this IFA or East versus West setup. It's more aggravating to start. Plus, Matt is going to be complaining about everything. He's going to be working the referee. So by the time they say go, you're already exhausted.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, as a champ, tell us about the league, because I sat there and talked to Alan Ford and Artem yesterday on the show, and they enjoy it. But I always got to ask people, because like I said, you're the champ, the representative, as Dan Plexman's in the show. What's up, Dan? So tell us, the difference between your basic, arm wrestling organization and then the MAC organization, whether it be the rules, tables, all that kind of stuff. Explain to everybody on the show what the difference is and how come you like it.
Well, I say it's just so much faster paced, man. Everything is different. Ian made a new table design. The tables are different. I wasn't really used to it when I pulled Rick on it. It kind of felt awkward, a little bit. But I mean, it's the same height. Everything's the same. It's just made
Right.
different, and they're way cooler looking than a regular arm wrestling table like we've been training on for years. The Mac table is an unbelievably beautiful table. It's really nice, and like I say, the rule set is really fast paced. You have to be really paying attention. As close your in the wall. Remember, it was close your thumbs, close your hands, ready to go. And
Yeah.
this, close your thumbs, close your hands, go. They take out the ready, so
Right.
it's much faster. So I think it eliminates a lot of false starts because a lot of times in the wall, when they say ready, people would go. And
Mm-hmm.
it's up like this when they say go, everybody you can go. So I love the way Ian runs it. Uh, I really thank Ian for thinking enough of me to reach out to me and ask me, did I want to have a title match against Rick? But Ian understands arm wrestling. He knew that me and Rick was both really good low hand top rollers, and I think it made a good main event. And I think this one will be really good as well because that's the same thing this cat's doing. Is just dropping that wrist back like this, looking at his opponent and just stopping him in the match.
Right. And I've been talking to Ian for a while now, and he actually sent me a set of rules from the Mac. You know what I mean? So I was going over them, and I told this on my show yesterday. So anytime you go into the strap, you are in that strap for the duration of that super match.
Yes, I like that.
So yeah. So I mean, it would benefit somebody to really get familiar with the strap pulling because you know how it is nowadays where you get to the table and someone says, hey, you want to go on the strap? It's like, nah, you got to earn that. So they're going to just bail anyway. And then they got what they want. Right. So there's always that.
I can't remember how the exact rules was on the strap. I just remember walking up to the table and we flipped coins for sides and he won the coin toss. And then the strap was brought up and Rick said, I would like the strap. They didn't ask me nothing. They just put the strap on, which I was like coming to Papa because I wanted the strap.
No, I mean, that's good. I mean, it's almost like, nowadays, the last, 3, 4, 5 years, the strap is an actual style now.
Right.
Where it's like, you got your basic traditional hook, top roll, press, and then you got other moves that kind of branch off of that, where now you kind of go, oh, okay, well, guess what? Now we got the strap. And so it's like, okay, that's cool. So then, you got to kind of find ways to perfect that movement, to perfect that angle and things like that, So that's interesting. I like that. What else can you tell us about that? Because I'm more really digging. I've watched a lot of Mac, events on their Mac YouTube channel and stuff, and I'm liking what I see. And I'm trying to get familiar with some of the guys on there because I'm curious for you. They got weight divisions, which means at some point, it's probably in the works right now as we speak, but there might be some rankings because now it's like, okay, now I know who's in my weight class. So Rick's in your weight class because you had to beat him to win the belt. Phillips in your weight class. Now you just got to find out who else is in my weight class because now it's like if you can get through this match after August 30th, then you got to go, okay, who's next? You know what I mean?
Right. And this guy looks like absolutely the strongest. Now, Rick did stop him in the matches where I pretty much was going right through Rick. If you go back and look, he was kind of getting stopped about halfway, about 70% down. But he went ahead and finished out the match, which I thought was interesting.
Right.
Because I have seen Phillip beat some really good arm wrestlers. He beat Brad Grundy, and if I'm not mistaken, he beat Sardis overseas a few days ago. Well, Sardis looked like he had lost a bunch of weight, but don't matter. Still, Sardis, he's still a WAF world champion. I mean, so maybe not. Maybe he didn't lose no weight. Maybe it was the way I was looking at him. But hey, you beat him, you're a good arm wrestler. Like I say, the biggest thing that I have in my corner is the fact that I pull a lot better in this setup, and I think that'll hit me a lot.
Right.
That I pulled Craig Silverback Humphrey about a month before I pulled Rick, and Rick seemed stronger. I don't know if that was because I just wasn't used to the Mac table or what, because Humphrey is a really good arm wrestler. But when we was pulling in the way Ty Jackson did that tournament, the way he did that super match that day was started you out in like a IFA grip.
Yeah.
If you slipped, it went to a wall sit up. Well, guess what? The first match, I went right through Craig. The second match, I got a little comfortable, and we took off in an IFA setup, and guess what? He pinned me. So I was
Wow.
right back to the wall, and I beat him easily every other round. So I was saying I'm just a different arm wrestler because just like Bob Brown talked about, because of my hand size, the opponents are able to get on top of my hand and push it down. Versus
Yeah, on a regular setup.
right, and the wall
Yeah.
setup, that doesn't happen. When I pulled Barboza wanted the wall 3-file rule set, but he wouldn't agree to pull me in the wall setup. I think Barboza.
Okay, so hold on. That's confusing. He wanted to pull the rules, but not the setup.
He wanted to pull the 3-file rule, but he didn't want to pull the actual rule setup. Because we was getting wanting the wall setup, me and Ty Jackson, he wouldn't do it. And like I said, everybody watched the match said, "Oh well, Matt beat Barboza, so there you go. Wayne's match with Matt was a flop." No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was just the fact that I had a lot better setup against Matt than I did against Barboza.
Right. Now,
I have never lost a match in a wall setup. Now, you go back to 2016 when it was Travis Bajan in Vegas, yes. But I mean, I wasn't the same arm wrestler then as I am now, So
right.
When I lost to Corey West, it was in like the IFA style setup. So, like I say, I'm curious to see if this guy's hand is going to be able to take me in that setup. I know Rick was strong. I could feel Rick after round one trying every way he could to carve me in a hook. And the setup was starting to try to turn his wrist, but my hand was just too dominant in that style. He couldn't turn my hand.
Well, it benefits you there. So let me ask you this. So you're coming off back, you got the belt, you know the rules there. And then now was that round robin at Bob Brown's, was that before or after your match with Rick?
That was after.
Okay. So take us back to that. So now you have to go back and go, okay, now I'm pulling back on the 7x7 elbow pad. Now I got to pull differently now. I'm not having the max setup now. So do you have to like readjust how you pull now style-wise because you pull on a different kind of table?
You're talking about had to readjust to going back to the MAC in this event in a few weeks?
No, like once you won at MAC, okay, you got familiar with it. Okay, this is awesome. I like the table. I like the rules. But now you go to that round robin in Utah and you have to pull Saray. So now it's like, okay, now I have to go back to the 7x7 elbow pad. I have to go back to where it's get a grip. So now do you have to readjust your thought process and training to get ready for that?
No, because I have been pulling on that table so many years, and I have a practice table made just like that as well.
Gotcha.
Setup, I knew before the referee said go, I said if I do beat this guy I was pulling, the Sierra guy, I didn't really know him. I had met him in Arizona, but I didn't even remember it. But I knew that guy was very inexperienced. He'd only been arm wrestling for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
I would have picked him out of the bunch to be the lesser opponent.
Right.
And I'm looking around at Wallace Dilly, Marcio, Ron Baff, all these guys to my left that's over here watching. And I'm watching the referee do my hand like this.
Right.
And if I do beat this guy, there's no way in hell I'm going to beat those guys over there. So what this referee's doing me? Hell no.
Well, speaking of which, the guy that was there, I would love to see you guys, pull down the road if you guys haven't already. I would love to see a match between you and Wallace Dilly.
Yeah, we talked about it, and I explained to Wallace what went on. Not taking nothing away from Sierra. He's a very strong athlete. I mean, he's a strong guy. But I can't pin somebody with my arm like this versus, if I can get my height, I'm a lot more dangerous athlete. But that's what Wallace told me was that he wants to arm wrestle the real Wayne Withers. So at some point down the road, he wants to arm wrestle me in either a MAC or a wall setup. So hopefully it'll happen.
Hey, you know what? Because I'm sure Ian and JJ are watching the show. or will be watching this show. So you never know. Who knows? That might happen. Because I'm telling you, because now think of this for a second. So you pulled Saray, at the Bob Brown round robin in Utah. Then, now Saray has his match with Derek Smith at the Shaw Classic coming up. You've seen Wallace Dilly had his match at the East First West versus Borman, Record Borman. So now you're kind of going, okay, do you ever think that I would love to get a shot at East First West? So you go, you know what? I'm making my home right here at Mac. I like what they got going on. The rules kind of cater to my style. I don't need to go to those guys. I mean, let those guys, have fun. I'll still watch them, but I like my home right here at Mac. Is that how you feel?
Absolutely. And let me clear. You say Saray, right? I'm sorry. I was probably pronouncing his name wrong.
Yes, Saray.
No harm intended. Sorry about that. But yeah, back to what you asked. I have no desire at all to pull it East versus West. I never have. They have been taking guys that I have beat on the show for years. There's guys that's been on. I can name 6 or 7 off the top of my head that I beat a few years ago. But that's the way I always been with me. When my ship comes in, I'm always at the airport until Matt come along, because I had signed a 2-year contract over the phone electronically with the WAL. It was the World Arm Wrestling League 601, so I had punched my ticket. And 2 weeks later, COVID canceled the whole damn series.
Yep. I think a lot of us, and I like that because as a souvenir, I got a wall contract sitting right here in this cabinet drawer. And now it's just a souvenir because I too was like on that path. And all of a sudden, COVID kind of said, I'm wiping everything out, but, it was good to, for me, I look back and kind of go, yeah, you know what? This is pretty cool because I actually, thought it was something cool. But whether they come back or not, we've been hearing for years, and I don't think they will. If they do, that'd be awesome. If they came back in tournament format. But because of COVID, though, what came out of it? King of the Table, East First West, Knuckles Up, Mac. So, I mean, there's a lot of organizations out there that can cater to certain people, and I like that because it's giving people opportunities. And I've always said this since day one. It's all about getting opportunities. And when you get that opportunity, you got to do what you can to make the most of it. You know what I mean? Do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, and I think Ian, hands down, is doing it better than all the ones you just mentioned. You think about what it costs overseas, East versus West, just to get Levon there, Vitali, Gasparini. How much money that involves. And right now, the MAC is an up-and-coming league with superstars that, you can start out taking care of them.
Yeah.
Pay $50,000 to somebody like Levon. So, I mean, I think Ian's doing a great job. Like I say, the match, we have plenty of talent right here in North America to put on some good with, Down the road, as he grows, he wants to grow up bigger and expand out, go for it. But the way he's got his own table, his own rule set, he's definitely on the right track,
Hey, you know what? And I'm excited. I know that I think the live stream will be pin stream, I think, August 30th. I'm not sure what time, but it'll be Saturday, August 30th. And I know you're like going, yes, yes. So tell me something. Now that you're the current champ, how often are you still competing? I mean, aside from the round robin.
The round robin was just a situation to where I got paid pretty good money to go out there. So I went. I wasn't expecting nothing. And I was going to go to the Worlds, to the IFA Worlds, but because I went to that tournament of Bob Brown's, it caused me to have to miss the Nationals.
Right.
So I wasn't allowed to go to the IFA Worlds. And I just really wanted to go to the IFA Worlds just to see that part of the country. Because it's the same rule set over there, I always feel like a different arm wrestler when I'm on the table in an event like that versus at this MAC that I'm going to be at. Like I say, it's the difference in arm wrestling my right arm and left arm. It's 50%. Right. I mean, there's no comparison. So, like I say, if I train for the next 2 weeks and don't get injured and really do my wrist like I'm doing it right now, hey, he's going to have to be some kind of a man to take my wrist. So, I mean, I'm excited. I'm still going to be nervous because I don't want to lose this as well, So you're going to have the butterflies there. that's what keeps me competing, man. That's why I love the butterflies. I love the challenges, you know.
That's because you wake up every day and you see that belt going, damn, somebody's coming after me. I gotta get that belt can probably motivate you more than ever because now it's like, all right, somebody's trying to come after my belt, somebody's coming after me. I got whether I don't feel good, I gotta get up, get to the lab, put some work in because somebody's gonna come. Somebody might be working harder than you, somebody might be working longer than you. So you gotta be ready, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, you know, too, I've been real busy publishing my book and everything, so that's kept me pretty busy. And that started.
Now
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, let's segue into that. You got a book out now, right? So tell everybody about the book you got.
Yeah, I mean, I went on Amazon and got a remanufactured Chromebook. I said all I'm going to do is write anyway, and then I got to looking into Microsoft 360 and all that. It was like $200. I said, well, I don't even know if I can write a book. I don't know if I got enough material. And my daughter said, Daddy, just do it in Google Docs. It's free. So I just started writing, and the more I started typing and thinking back on things, I said, you know, this is pretty interesting. This may sell a lot of books. And got through with everything and sent it off to a publishing house in Columbus, Mississippi. And the girl just went crazy over it. She's like, inside of a few hours, she called me after she started reading it. It was going to edit the book, and she said, "Are you a top roller, a hooker, or a presser?" And I said, "Well, listen to you." I said, "You sound like a pro." And she had been doing her research because I had named the book "Diaries of a Mississippi Arm Wrestler." And she
Right.
said, "How about we call it Top Roll, since you're a top roller?" I said, "Well, it sounds better." And she
There you go.
changed a few things, but I think my story is probably the most unique story out there because, you know, I pioneered arm wrestling in the state of Mississippi. I started everything here and did the first tournament and got the first practices going here and, you know, didn't win a match for the first 5 years I competed in the pro division. So I
Right.
had a lot of hardships to get to where I am right now. You fast forward a few years and going to WAL in Vegas, and not long after that, I'm tearing through the tournaments in the South, Alabama, Louisiana, all over, and get the match with Matt Mask and shock the world when I beat him because didn't nobody really know who I was. But the book tells all. It's only like 50 pages, so I
Right.
didn't make it too long because I don't want to bore people out with like a book this thick, you know. So
Right.
50 pages, but it tells a lot of information in a very short period of time, and it doesn't get the reader doesn't get bored with it because you can literally read the book in under an hour front to back. So
Yeah.
that's what I wanted. I could have put a lot more stuff in the book, but I also didn't want to get the reader on TikTok halfway through it. So I wanted to finish the book. You know,
Well, I mean, how many have you copies have you sold?
I've ordered. I've ordered over 100 copies. There's over 100 in circulation now from California to Dallas. They're all over the country, and every time I get a order sold out with like
Sorry, man. The freaking train's coming. I gotta shut my window for a sec. All right. I live right by the train track, so sometimes it can be hard doing the show where they get to coming down here and honking the horn and stuff. So sorry about that. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I just saying I'm only been ordering like 40 books at the time, and it's usually the time I get them in, they're sold out. So people's constantly messaging me on Facebook, and people in the area, just local people that I know, is asking for the book. And I went by the newspaper. Well, I've been living down here in Rankin County for about 5 years, so I
Right.
went to the newspaper, and the sports writer was gone like 10 miles down the road, and I called and told him that I was there. And he turned around and he said, Wayne, he already knew who I was. I'd never been in that newspaper place ever. And he come back and he did a long story, wrote down a lot of stuff, and he said, I'm going to promote your book as well. So the paper
Wow.
next Wednesday. But he had seen me on one of the radio shows in Jackson. I'm real, uh, how do you say, active in the community when it comes to staying in the papers and the news and all that in Mississippi, you know.
Right.
So everywhere I go, just about get recognized for what I do, you know.
I'm waiting for them to make a statue out of you now.
Well, I told him, I said, I told the city of Carthage, which is where I was born and raised, I said, I need a monument here. You see those little square monuments on the side of the road and places like that? Because
Yeah.
that's where they done. That's what got me started 16 years ago. The town of Carthage, Mississippi, did a little local arm wrestling tournament, and I entered it and won it, and I went from there. So that's what I
Right.
go tell the mayor of Carthage now. I say, hey, look, you need to get me up there on the square because that all started for me right here. And I'm not no Levon or Vitali or somebody like that, but I have been pretty much all over the world arm wrestling in the last 15 or 16 years, win or lose.
Well, I mean, hell, I mean, I think was it earlier this year or maybe last year? Michael Ty got his Walk of Fame thing up in Arkansas. It's
Oh,
on the street, and he
oh,
has his name and I think handprints too or whatever. So yeah, it's there up in Arkansas. So
he definitely would deserve it. Is all the titles. Yeah, for sure. Well, I got to
so
get on. I got to get them going. I've been in just about every paper when I went to the Worlds in France, the AFA Worlds in 22. The largest circulating paper in the state of Mississippi, the Clarion Ledger. They put me on the front page when I went to
nice.
over there. So this paper here will probably do the same, and it's just going to be a story about what I've done over the years.
Right. That's some good memorabilia, man. Now there's got to be some guys out there because you said you can name about 6 off the top of your head that you've beaten or pinned that compete at the East First West. So now
Right.
there's got to be some guys out there that you really want to match with, but you haven't gotten that opportunity yet. Who would those guys be?
Somebody I hadn't pulled that I would like to pull. Let me see. Man, there's so many coming up now that's good. Uh, I'm going to pull that up and coming younger guy in October. I mean, not October, November in Ohio. Logan Bittigers, I believe is his name.
Oh yeah.
It was
Okay. Okay.
it was all over the internet beating Devin left-handed at that tournament that everybody was talking.
That's right. And you know what? First of all, good on him. But what's weird is that we all live in a society where we like to see the car crash. We like to find reasons why when someone is successful, we kind of have to knock them down a notch. Okay. So yeah, he got a win on Devin. Kudos to him. So you have one half of the, people saying, oh, that's awesome, but then you got the other half going, yeah, but Devin pulled X amount of matches before that, this, that. And he'd been pulling all day yesterday. I get it. But, as soon as you put your name in the hat and you got to pull at a tournament, no matter what condition you are, you put your name down, you fill out your registration form, you're a free game, I've been in that situation before and I pulled multiple classes and probably lost to guys I probably shouldn't have lost to, but hey, that was my decision to go ahead and do that. So I can't take anything away from that, but at the same time, it skyrocketed him because as soon as that match got out there on social media, boy, it got a lot of views. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the kid's got like 25,000 followers on, I think, TikTok, and I got like 7, and I got like way more wins. But that's how social media is. As
Right.
younger understands it better. I mean, look at Chance Shaw, way more followers than I got, and Chance Shaw has never pinned me. I pin him every time we've ever arm wrestled. But it's just the fact that one thing, my phone is a potato. It's like an '80s model, and I don't get out there and do the cool videos like that. It's on me. It's not on them. They're doing a great job. Like I say,
Right.
these promoters want. They want the people with the most fans. And somebody that knows and understands arm wrestling like Ian, he contacted me because he knows my hand and wrist is very strong and I'm a good low hand top roller. So,
Mm-hmm.
but if say that Ian hadn't started this league and it's somebody that didn't really know arm wrestling that well, I wouldn't have got the call at all. They would have gone on the internet and found the one with the most followers would have got that match.
Right. Well, I mean, you also got to realize too, you have to find some way somehow to market yourself. What's up, Paul Stevens? Welcome to the show. You have to find a way to market yourself because not everybody has the opportunity to get a sponsor. Not everybody has that. So you have to do everything possible to get your name out there. If that means, filming a bunch of matches and stuff and having somebody splicing them or edit them out, and then you put it out there to every, social media outlet, some way, somehow, someone's gonna they're gonna see it. That's what you got to do.
Right. And like I said, I've probably done a way better job at marketing my state of Mississippi than I have my social media. But there's a lot on social. Like I say, I got about 7,000 followers on TikTok, and a lot of people know me from the TikTok. But I
Right.
think marketing has been better right here in the state as far as old school style, like newspapers and TV, stuff like that, I don't really see a lot of other arm wrestlers doing that. If they are getting on local news, they're not posting it online where people can see it anyway.
Well, I mean, there's something to say about that. When you go, like you said, you're very involved in the community out there. And, when people see you, oh, how you doing, Wayne? When's your next match and all that kind of stuff. It's something like that that makes people feel good. Like, you know what? I love my community. My community loves me. Everything is good, So, I mean, there is a silver lining when it comes to that.
Yeah, I was asked twice yesterday if I was still doing that arm wrestling thing. I get asked that about every day.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna walk up to me, and that's probably the most irritating question I get, is if I'm still arm wrestling. Like, well, I'm pretty good. I'm probably not gonna quit no time soon.
Right.
What I do, I arm wrestle. So why would I walk away from it?
Well, okay. So let me ask you this: now that you're the champ, do you see your productivity go up or go down? Because because you're involved in MAC and you're the champ now of that league, you kind of go, okay, well, I'm gonna just train. I may do this tournament, I may not, because you never know. I always call Ian the commissioner. Him the commissioner. I'll call JJ the vice president, whatever. And I always sit there and say, do you have to always be ready just in case they give you a call? Go, hey, what are you doing at the end of the year? We got a big, match coming up. You willing to put the title on? I mean, tell me, how does this work out? Did they come to you for a title match or what? How'd that work out?
5:30, I was on my way to work one morning. At 5:30, I got a text from Ian asking me would I be interested in a match, headlining the main event at MAC. And I was like, man, I've never even talked to this cat really before. He was at Knuckles Up when I lost to Mega Mike, and he was telling me behind my back, and he's probably listening right now. I never told Ian this, but he was behind my back telling me how I should have arm wrestled in that match. Basically, he's like, you need to learn how to slip. I couldn't slip because Mega Mike had a pair of vice grips around my thumb. And sitting there talking to Mega Mike was like, when I grabbed your hand, he said, your hand felt ridiculous. He said, so I just let go and grabbed your thumb every round. And of course, we was in that IFA style bullshit. To me, that's what I call it or whatever. But anyway, Ian's behind me, pretty much telling me I need to learn how to arm wrestle, and I almost turned around and told him off.
Right.
Which would have been the biggest mistake I would have ever made in my life because of him and the opportunity he gave me. Look where I'm at right now. But I think that it wasn't Ian. I think I was just frustrated because I had lost the match to Mega Mike when I shouldn't have lost the match to Mega Mike.
Right.
I feel like I should have won. You always feel like you should win when you go in a match.
I tell you what, I'll take it a step further, because remember that that ruler of the nation, the ROTN that we had in Texas? Remember that one?
Right.
You should have won that one.
That was some bullshit too. Yeah.
Oh, are you talking about with the Herman Stevens match? Talking about that one?
Oh man, everybody was on Herman's side. They was getting up there to the table with Herman and letting Herman just flash pin them, trying to get him more wins than I. Yeah.
You should have won that one. I mean, and you got, and people, just to give you guys a recap, that was 2021, I believe, and it was in Waxahachie, Texas, and so that was the ROTN, which stood for Rule of the Nation. That was Gary Roberts, baby, and basically it was like that was a weird day, because check this out. So you had each weight class, I think it was like 3 weight classes, and what happened was you ran a tournament, okay? Your basic double elimination tournament. Of that tournament, the top 8 guys now go into on the main stage, right? So I was in that same situation on the left hand where I went in. There were like 25 guys in my class because I think the weight class was like 210 and over or something like that. So here I am, 25 guys in there and pulling left hand. I think my record was 2-2, so I missed the cut by like 2 or 3 spots. So they took the top 8, bam, they go over there. Well, now the remaining 17 pullers, now they reclassify and just go, now you got to run double elimination tournament. I still got the medal because I took first that bitch. So, yes. However, with you, it was like, how many pins can you get in 30 minutes? Or can you get 21 pins total, or whoever has the most pins by the time the 30 minutes was up was the winner, right? I think it was something like that.
And see, that's another reason I lost, because I didn't know about the time limit until the tournament was over. They changed that the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
So what I understood was just arm wrestle and beat as many people as you can. And
Right.
people were coming up to me like friends of Herman Stevens, like, hell, what's his name? The so good left-hander down in Louisiana.
Oh, you're talking about Jonathan Breida?
He's walking up to me talking about, hey, do you want to just go straight to the strap? And I'm like, well, how was he put? Anyway, whatever we was doing was shaving time off the clock. He's like, yeah, you want to just go straight to the strap?
They burned it. Oh, wow. I didn't realize I was there, but I didn't realize they were purposely doing that.
On purpose, because, like I say, I had no idea that the time limit even existed. That was something new. That was added last minute. So when Breida's like, hey, do you want to just go straight to the strap? I'm like, sure. Which anybody with any common sense at all would have not went to the strap if they would have knew about the 30-minute time limit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if nobody knew that I didn't know about it. They thought they're just getting one over me or what. But several of them asked me that. You want to just go straight to the strap? Oh, yeah. And then even the last guy that Herman pulls before the time runs out, Herman needs that win to get ahead of me. And the guy that he's arm wrestling is saying, Herman, come on, hurry up, pin me. That everybody.
Oh, wow.
In on it, and everybody was in on it.
Yeah, when you're a threat like that and people start, this reminds me, there was was it UAL 8? It was the second to the last UAL event, the one in Huntington Beach where the famous, John Brzezinski over Michael Todd, where you going, buddy? So there was, yeah. So at that time, Michael was the face of UAL, right? He was the face. And it was cool because every weight class had a different color jersey, so you knew who was in what weight class. I thought that was pretty cool. That was unique. So, and I think, hey, Mac should do something like that, by the way. Come on, Mac. There you go. So you get to the supers. So Michael's the favorite. He's the man. He's the face of UAL. That's Robert Drake's guy. But then you got guys in that class like Derek Smith, Richard Blupkes, Jerry Cataract, John Brzezinski, and the list goes on and on. I'm thinking Mike Gould was in that class. And all of a sudden now, when you start to whittle it down, it was like the top 4 people. And behind the scenes, I think as the story goes, Brzezinski and Jerry, made an agreement. Hey, let's go ahead and try to take Mike out. We'll split the money type of deal. So it kind of reminded me of your situation where you had Herman and you had Breida, and if they're all trying to get together and say, okay, let's go ahead and take Wayne out. So it goes to show you that might be a respect thing too, though. They respect you that much that they got to kind of congregate to take you out. Do you believe me? Do you think that's true?
Yeah, if you remember as well, what was the setup that day? We was wall setup. So
yeah, Travis was the ref. He was doing it all. He was,
right.
Yeah.
I was very comfortable. Nobody was going to even come close to pinning me, and they never did.
Right.
That setup, so I could have sat there all day and won matches. I'd like to say I just didn't know about the time limit, and I don't know, man. It was all screwed up.
It was a wild west, but we got a comment from Neil's index finger says they want Wayne to pull Josh. And I hope I'm saying this last name right. Beelan.
He was another. He would have been another option. It was going to be between him and Phillip.
Oh, okay. So he was like right up there. Okay.
Right. He had beat Rick sometimes, and sometimes Rick was beating him. but he's a national champion from up in Canada, I believe. So yeah,
Right.
he was. It was between him and this Phillip guy. They decided.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now, and then like I said, with this Mac thing now, you can just kick back and go, you know what? I'm committed to Mac. You can almost be picky about where you compete at now, because now it's like you don't have to always go out and do this and do that, because what'll happen is that if I'm the champ, I know for a fact I got a match coming. I just don't know when, but I got to be ready. So you may have to decline certain tournaments or certain opportunities. Is that what position you're in right now?
Yeah, like I say, I'll be 45 if the Lord says the same in about 2 weeks. So
Okay.
getting on up there in age a little bit, but I still feel real good. I feel strong, but I'm kind of got it down to now to where I just want to pull for Ian for the Mac, and of course my boy Ty Jackson out in Ohio. I've always got to go out there and do a match for Todd, because
Right.
we like this, and me and Ian's got good friends. But as far as me running the roads and going through these open tournaments, no, it's over with. I went to Alabama State in March 1st. I really just something come up and everything lined up just right for me to go back up there. And I actually felt bad after the tournament because there was a lot of younger guys there that it would have probably meant a lot more to them to get that state title than me coming in there and taking my fifth one from Alabama. When I already got a room full of trophies at the house from open tournaments. I got over 60 open state tournament titles, and like I say, and then I told Todd how bad I felt. I was like, man, uh, like I say, I can remember being in those guys' shoes where I really wanted the Alabama State Championship. It took me years to
Yeah.
get it. And Todd's like, well, no. He said, you need to do that because these guys need to understand when they sign up in the open division that they could run into somebody like you, so they need to train hard. So in a way, he's right too. But I
Well,
was,
I mean, there's two ways to look at that, Wayne, because one, I get what you're saying, because you're probably going, hey, once upon a time, that was me wanting to get that, Alabama State title because it means so much. And you feel like, man, by me showing up, I just kind of crushed some dreams of these guys.
right.
Or what you could do, look at it this way. Well, oh, Wayne's here. I get to pull Wayne. Man, I'm excited. But that's weird because we don't get that kind of stuff anymore like we used to back in the day, where you're excited to pull somebody in your class. It's like, hey, I get a shot because you know what? Because everybody's going to want to take that guy out. At some point, he's going to wear down. Who's going to be the one to actually get the pin on him? But like I said, it's just people look at things a lot differently now. So, but I get what you're saying.
Oh yeah, PAF Nationals, Atlanta, Georgia. Ryan Bath was in my weight class, and I
Mm-hmm.
beat him 3 times that day instead of the usual 2 because the down ref had something wrong with him. Something wasn't right about the guy. He was an older guy, and he called a bad call after I pinned Ryan the second time. So I know that wasn't a bad call. Hell, even Ryan knows I beat him, and Ryan's right back at the table. Come on, big boy, come back. He wanted that third, and I beat him again. So that's probably hands down as far as an open tournament or national, whatever you want to call it, my best win.
Right.
I even got a text from my boy out in California, Tom Nelson, who was one of my biggest critics back in the day. I
Right.
didn't mask, I ain't done this, I ain't done nothing, and he sees me beat Ryan Bath, and he sent me a private message. He said, "Hey man, you can retire." He said, "You just probably beat the best arm wrestler that ever lived." If you think about Ryan Bath, I don't even think Richard Lukey's ever beat him. Every time Richard ever pulled Ryan was right through him. And I talked to Dave Randall uh,
Mm-hmm.
several years ago before that match between me and Ryan happened. And I was like, man, I run into Ryan at these tournaments sometimes, and he just hands my ass to me and so forth. And Big Dave Randall was like, well, he's beatable, but you got to make him honest. He said if Ryan gets to sit back there in that corner and lock his hand down, he said, I don't give a damn who you are. You're not going to beat him. He said, but if you'll make the referee center him out to center of the table with you, he said he is beatable. And I remember what Dave Randall said when I pulled him that day, and that's how I beat him. I
Well,
put
yeah, everybody. If you pull long enough, everybody's going to take a loss. That's just the way it is. So, man, and like I said, I think and I don't know about you, but do you think with some of the younger pullers now, like we're talking maybe 3 years or under, do you think sometimes they get so wrapped up in the wins that um, it put too much extra pressure on themselves that, well, I can't lose, I can't lose. It's like, bro, you pull long enough, everyone's going to take a loss. I've taken my fair share of ass whoopings, also giving out some too in the process, but that's just the way the sport is, you know?
Yeah, you don't want that mindset that you're going to lose. I know I got some teammates in Mississippi and around that's like they don't really train that much, and they
Mm-hmm.
remember, well, I'm going to do my best. If I'm beat him, I'm beat him. If not, well, I don't really look at it like that. I look at it like, hey, I trained my ass off. I should beat this guy today. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't look at it as like, well, hey, if I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. But back to what you're saying, yeah, you might as well get ready because that ass whooping is right around the corner. You may have been pulling 20 years, 30 years. You may be John Brezink, Michael Todd. It's coming. Just wait. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I think at some point, like you say that and we kind of think, okay, every time we see Levon go to a match, it's like, okay, is this the match where Levon goes down? And then you kind of go, nah, he's too good, he's too smart, too strong, all the above. But then after his recent win, you kind of go, what about this guy? Or what about that guy? So, I mean, there's still a few guys out there who I think can make Levon sweat. But I tell you what, the next guy that gets the actual pin on him, dude, I'm telling you, it's going to be another Tom Nelson text. Oh, you can retire now. You got a pin on the best guy there is currently. Because think about it. A healthy Morozov against Levon might make him sweat. A healthy Vitali this time around against Levon might make him sweat. We don't know, right? So, man, there's always stuff like that.
I think Vitaly. I think back when Vitaly was a truck driver and part-time arm wrestler, he gave Levon all he can handle at the top eight. And now that
Mm-hmm.
Vitaly's a full-time arm wrestler, training for arm wrestling, like you say, well, you didn't mention this match, but he went overseas. He's not even a left-handed dominant arm wrestler. He goes overseas and beats Morrisov left-handed, who's the number one in the world left-handed,
Yeah.
and doesn't struggle that much beating him. So what is his right hand going to be able to do? So I'm just curious. Maybe that's the guy that actually can take out Levine. I don't know. I know everybody said that on the last 10 times the guys arm wrestle, but the match with the match with Devin Lorette versus Vitali is going to tell a lot about that. If Devin's able to beat him, maybe he's not what I thought he was. Which who knows? I mean, Devin's 300 pounds, 330 right now. He's huge. So man, it's just hard to know. That's my top three in the world in supers is
Right.
Tally, Devin Lorette, and top three in the world, in my opinion. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's only a matter of time. And so you kind of go, okay, is there anybody else out there that can challenge this guy? Or, like I said, when you're that good, if you notice, though, Levon pulls like once, maybe twice a year. That's it.
Hmm.
And think about it. That's all he does. So he's pulled Ermi so far, and he may have another one before the year's up, but we don't know who. So, you know what I mean? So it all depends, and I
Maybe
don't know.
pulls better that way. Look at Devin. He's arm wrestling every other weekend. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's stronger. Maybe Levon is the type that the gym makes him stronger and he just wants to arm wrestle here or there. I can relate to that a lot because I don't want to be at a lot of arm wrestling practices. I may, go to one tomorrow, but I don't want to be at a lot of arm wrestling practices leading up to this match with Phillip. I feel like I'm stronger in the gym by far than on the arm wrestling. I
Right.
feel like I go to that practice, my arm, it wears my tendons out and just exhausts me, and I'm not able to pick up a weight for a week and a half after that. So I want to be in the gym up till about maybe 5 days before the match, just working the hell out of my hand, wrist, and back pressure. And
Right.
that's the most confident. I'm going to be more, even if that don't help, I'm more confident going into the match than I would be if I went to 14 practices between then and now.
But like I said, like we talked about the show, everyone's different on their training, and I've said this before because that question's always come up to me. And, I tell people, it's like, well, look at Todzilla. He probably gets on the table once, maybe twice a month, maybe,
Right.
you know, Michael Todd's always in the gym, well, his personal gym, putting in the work. You know, he may get on table, very few here and there. Devin Larrett, table time constantly. John Brzenk, table time constantly. And then you got to find a happy medium in between. But at the end of the day, you got to find what works for you. You could try those things and see where it goes. But at the end of the day, it's all about your comfort level, what works for you.
Matt Mass, always table time. He said years ago, if he wanted to be good in arm wrestling, he'd arm wrestle. If he wanted to be good at lifting weights, he'd lift weights. Well, I hadn't been on an arm wrestling table as far as a practice table in like 6 months when I arm wrestled Matt Mass. I was all in the gym. And
Right.
he's an arm wrestling practice table kind of guy, and I went right through him 3-0. So there you go. Richard Lukes said he's never been to arm wrestling practice in one of his interviews.
Mm-hmm.
One of the baddest men to ever compete on an arm wrestling table. Different strokes, folks, right?
Can you imagine if he had a team around him?
Oh, my God. Well, I think that the reason why Brzenk was so dominant just practicing all the time, not never going to the gym, because, my God, he was like a world champion at like 20 years old. So right from the time he was a kid up until now, he's been able to practice with the best arm wrestlers in the world. Everybody just snap his fingers on the weekends, and they come running to a practice. That's what I've never been to a practice. I'm assuming Brzenk can get on the phone and has the best in the country at his house that weekend for a practice. Everybody doesn't have that luxury. I can't do that. So
Right.
the option for me is to go to the gym every day, you know.
No, I get that. I mean, sometimes you don't have the necessary personnel to help you get. You got to kind of do what you got to do, you know, to make sure and get it done. So, well, my friend, we hit the hour mark. I know I'll have to get you going the rest of your evening because I know it's Thirsty Thursday. So there's that. Everybody, I think Pim Stream will be the link to watch the match. Wayne Withers, Philip Larson, August 30th. That'll be a Saturday for the MAC Heavyweight Championship belt. Don't miss it. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a treat. So, Wayne, before we sign off, you walk away with this win. Is there a certain guy you want next? Or do you have to just wait and say, hey, I won. You let me know what offer you got, and I'll say yeah or nay.
Man, I would love, and this could be in the works too. I don't even want to say nothing for Mac, but I'm just going to say I would like to pull maybe a schoolboy in a Mac tournament. If I can get the, I think that would draw a hell of a crowd. Right?
Schoolboy, huh? Now that's interesting. Because you know,
I think it makes good.
He's like this. Like he'll do good, then I know he got injured for a little bit, so I kind of took him out for a while. And then he'll start ramping up, then he'll take a loss, and then he'll go back down, and he'll come back up. So I don't know exactly where he's at right now, but I know he's lately he's been making some waves. You know, he's over there kicking some dust. So
what I was thinking, he's doing pretty good. So he's got a huge following as well. So yeah, I would like to do that.
Well, cool, my friend. Hey, I just want to say thank you for joining me on the show again. It's an honor, and I'm looking forward to seeing your match, man. So I'll be on vacation, so I'll have to like catch it, you know, in between where the hell I'm doing. So, but yes, everybody, don't forget Saturday, August 30th, Wayne Withers puts up his MAC heavyweight title versus Philip Larson, and let the pieces fall where they may at MAC 4. So, Wayne, my friend, I'm gonna let you go, but yes, you're more than welcome to come back on the show. Matter of fact, we might do a follow-up. What do you think?
Sounds good, bro. I appreciate it.
All right, my man. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Take it easy now. Later.
Take care. Take care, everybody.